No.
Man, that'd hurt a lot more if it wasn't in pre-fishing. I could have used that fish in the tournament though. We're gonna jump right into it, guys. We're gonna talk pre-fishing and the tournament down on Caddo Lake, chasing big bass, big money in my first Hobie Bass Open Series event of the year. Let's get right into it.
So I chose a spot on the south end of the lake to start that I heard was pretty good, and I immediately started hooking up with fish. I shook off a bunch of fish, including a few fish that I couldn't shake off, like this one right here. Kind of hooked itself. I thought I was pulling out of some weeds for a minute, but it was just a fish that was hooked up, about a 17-inch class fish. But this area, I swear, like these trees right here in front of me on this portion of the video, every single one of those trees, I got my bait picked up. I did not set the hook on those fish. I just kind of let them have it. One of them took forever to get unhooked. I moved spots to the north end of the lake, and more of the same. I had a specific tree and a specific depth of water that I was getting bites on. It seemed like everything I was doing was working. Everything I was throwing at was getting bites, and bam, I was just on it for practice, feeling real good heading into day two. Also during practice, I hooked this giant that was at the beginning of the video.
Oh God.
No.
So after practice, I was feeling really, really good about the tournament. I thought I would have a limit within 30 minutes. I decided to go to the first place that I checked in practice, even though I lost that bigger fish in the second spot. The average fish seemed to be, or feel, a little heavier. I didn't set the hook many times in spot one, but I did lift up on a few fish that I shook off, and they felt heavy, and the ones I did catch were bigger than average than the ones in spot two, if that made sense. So I went to the spot on the south end of the lake first. It was a busy ramp. So let's get it right into how day one went.
So day one, everybody going out of the chute at the same time, heading to their respective spots. I wasn't sure if anybody else found the stretch I was on, and they didn't. Everybody dispersed, and I got to make first cast kind of unimpeded. And immediately thought where I was getting my bait picked up, I would catch a few fish real quick and get a limit fast. Did not happen. Fished for several hours with a variety of techniques, no bites, until finally moved to this isolated tree that I didn't even check pre-fishing. And this was probably 5 hours into my morning right here. Flipped a little creature bait on the other side of the tree there, brought it around, finally got a good bite. I was feeling pretty defeated. Just happy to finally get a fish in the boat. Got a pick of this one. Moved around a little bit and tried to repeat that on some isolated trees way out, and it was no go.
So y'all, at this point in day one, I had loaded up the boat, decided to move ramps. And when I got to ramp number two, I seriously considered just heading on home. There was at least 50 boats or boat trailers in the parking lot between bass boats and kayaks. There was some kind of cookout going on, and I was already frustrated. I had one fish, and I thought about just going to the rent house, loading my stuff up, and heading back to Arkansas. But I wanted to try to keep that competitive spirit in 2023 and not get so discouraged so early, even though it happened to me on Guntersville. I got shook on Guntersville pretty bad in my first tournament, but I didn't want that to happen again. So I went ahead and dropped in, and I had about 2 hours left to fish on day one with one fish in the boat. I'll show you how the rest of the day went right here.
So after getting my mind right, decided to go ahead and throw the boat in, head over to the spot I had checked in the second half of the day pre-fishing. Stopped on the first tree that I checked pre-fishing. I actually caught two here, and it was more of the same, no bites. But what this area had that the other area didn't was some deeper water next to a row of timber. Switched to a weightless Senko, like 90% of the field was throwing, and hooked up with a fish immediately. This one pulled off, but it kind of clued me into something a little different than what I was doing, was flipping that weighted Texas rig. So started flipping a weightless Senko wacky style and a weightless Texas rig Senko, shooting it back in these trees a fair distance, as far as I could get it without getting hung up. Here's fish number 2 on the day. At this point, I've got about an hour and a half left in my fishing day. Got that one measured up. Now I've got an hour and a half left to catch 3 fish. Very doable. And I feel like I'm onto a little pattern here. So continue chucking that weightless Senko around. This was the Texas rig weightless Senko. One just slammed it on top of that little bit of scattered, I think it's called Sylvania, giant Sylvania. And some other, I think it was some milfoil mixed in. But this one slammed it right on top. Now fish number 3. Got about an hour to go. Almost lost a rod right there. Scary. Loving that new net, by the way. Got that net at the end of last year. Love it. So need 2 more fish. A little bit of time left. Start shooting that Texas rig Senko around. I liked it a little better because I could cast it easy. I liked it on that bait caster. It was easier to shoot it back in those trees for me, accurately. And this one got it right by the boat. Pretty good fish. Fish number 4, 18-incher in the boat. So now I just need 1 more to get my limit. And there's about 30 minutes left in the day. I need 1 more to get my limit. I shoot this down that row of trees that are kind of in order there. After I let that Senko do its thing for just a second, reel it a little bit, let it drop again. Pow! I felt that telltale tick back there. And this was going to be fish number 5 if I could get it in the boat.
Let's go.
I know how it feels. Late day run to get 5. So I thought I might need that area of trees on day 2, so I didn't keep fishing them. I moved out to a row of trees I knew had like 8 to 10 feet of water on it. Started casting that Texas rig around the trees with 15 minutes left in my day. I didn't know how big this one was when I set the hook. Until I got closer to the boat, it kind of came at me.
Oh, God. Get in here. Yes!
15 minutes to go in the day. 6-inch call. That was the last fish of the day. Headed back to the ramp.
So bam, there you have it, guys. 88.25 inches to finish day 1. The leaderboard was so tight. I was in the mid-30s in the standings, but 1 good fish away from being in the top 10, to be honest. Leaderboard was really, really tight. I knew I put myself in contention by being mentally tough enough to stick around and fish those last few hours. That last fish was huge. It called me up 6 inches to get into that, quote, check range, because they paid the top 31 in this event. And I was sitting in, I think 35th after day 1. No, 38th after day 1. So, and I think it was maybe 3/4 of an inch out of the money. So right there, ready to go for day 2. Day 2 video will be coming soon. So be watching for that.